Hello and welcome back. It's about time for our Monday motivation segment, and we are honored to have the amazing Fola Daniels back in the building. We always learn something brand new, something refreshing, something that is enough to get us through the week whenever he steps into the studio. It's great to have you back.
My pleasure to be here again.
It's 2025, and there are a lot of things that people are working on that might not seem huge, but are actually very, very significant.
Absolutely.
And our topic today is emulating an iceberg, the things unseen. Very
Absolutely.
interesting topic.
Yeah, so I started looking at things that we can learn from. First of all, you need to understand that we can learn from nature.
Sure.
Nature is probably the greatest teacher around us. If only we pay attention to nature, there's so much wisdom we can gain from it. So when we talk about emulating the iceberg, the first thing you note about the iceberg is most of the iceberg is hidden.
True.
There are too many of us who come out too early. There are too many of us who are announcing the things that we're doing too early. There are projects you're working on, everybody knows about it before they should know. There's so many things that you should work out the details, fine-tune them before you begin to announce them. So the first strength and lesson that we can learn from the iceberg is the fact that the biggest size of the iceberg is hidden.
It's beneath the surface.
Beneath the surface.
Okay.
You don't see it, you don't know the actual size until you go under the water. It's similar to the tree, that the real strength of the tree is what is in the roots, what is under the ground that you don't see. So you look at the iceberg, the bigger size is under the surface. So we need to learn from that as well. Let people think you're small. Be comfortable with people believing that you haven't arrived. Be comfortable with people believing that you don't have money. Be comfortable with people looking at your car and underrating you.
True.
Be comfortable with people looking at where you live and underrating you as well.
Okay, so
until they find out who you truly are.
You don't live on Banana Island, so they don't rate you.
It doesn't mean much. It doesn't mean much. There are those who can live somewhere else. There are those who go all over the world. But there are those who don't seem to have all those things on the outside.
Sure.
But when you find out who they are, when you see their portfolio, when you see their strength, then you say, wow. I've been fooling myself and this person has been camouflaging all along. So that's the first lesson. Then the second lesson that we can learn from the iceberg is patience. It builds over different weather. It doesn't matter what the weather looks like. It keeps building over time. When there's a change in weather, it can defrost and form again, just so that it can adjust to the new weather condition.
So you need to be flexible.
Flexible and adaptable. Flexible and agile. You can't walk in a particular way. One of the things I keep teaching, for example, when I'm training, I'm talking about goal setting, is that if I need to get from point A to point B, the most important thing is getting to point B, not the how. The how can keep changing, but getting to point B is the end result. Most people focus on getting to point B, and they think that getting to point B must happen in a straight line. And they don't realize that sometimes you have to first of all go left or go right and then go forward. But they just want to go forward immediately. But if I try that here, what's going to happen to me here? I'm going to hit this thing and probably fall, tip over, break a tooth, or lose a couple of teeth at my age.
Speaking of breaking things, when I think of an iceberg, the first thing that comes to my head is the Titanic. You know, at the time, the Titanic itself was the biggest purpose-built passenger vessel on the oceans, and it took a small scratch from an iceberg. Seemingly small. Obviously, it was beneath the surface of the water. If you watch that movie, it was beneath the surface of the water that it scratched the ship. So I'm thinking about how powerful or
the iceberg is.
The impact of an iceberg
so that's the thing. That's why we say you don't underrate the iceberg that you see. You underrate the iceberg at your peril, at your own peril, because the biggest strength of the iceberg, or the most powerful things about it, is that you don't see it coming. You don't see the impact, the possible impact it can have. You don't see the size, so you can tentatively underrate it. So as a human being too, allow people to underrate you. Do you know that sometimes when we talk about enemies and friends and stuff like that, sometimes the reason they can do what they can do to us is because they've seen everything about us. in the military, there's something called strategy. And one of your biggest strategy as a soldier is to make sure that your enemy never sees you coming. Never. So you're hiding. What's the idea of camouflaging? You try to blend into the environment so that when they show up, they don't know they are walking into a trap. They don't know they are walking into an ambush. So in the corporate world as well, there are some achievements you don't even show off until it's time to show them off.
And another good example is actually us here at TVC. You know, we were in K2 for a very, very long time.
And people thought that you're taking a blow and you're going to stay low.
Exactly. It took 4 years
to
for
get
our
back on
Iceberg to rebuild.
Yeah, to be reviewed too.
Exactly, and to be revealed. And here we are.
Yeah. Fantastic.
I'm thinking about 2025 and where we're going from here. Not just as a station, but as individuals in our place of work, in our businesses, even with new ideas. There are a lot of schools of thought that are talking about us, you know, showcasing ourselves on social media, telling people everything you're doing, giving them a blow by blow of everything that's happening. So where do we stand on this line now? Some people believe you need to showcase and market yourself, and now you're saying, hey, don't tell everyone what you're doing yet. Where do we stand?
So there's a difference between, first of all, let's remember that we've talked about the strength being hidden until you finally see it and understand the strength. There's patience that we've talked about. The patience is to know the right time to come out. There's also adaptability. Most people try to show off is the process and not the end results. When you show off the process and not the end result, I can easily copy what you're trying to do and I can outsmart you.
Interesting.
So if you're doing something, you're showing off the blow by blow account, as they try to say, and I know what you're doing. I may have more resources to move faster than you're moving. So if I have more resources to move faster than you're moving, what have you gained by showing me the step-by-step account of everything that you're doing? You've just given me free idea, and you can't even sue me for using exactly the same idea. So one thing is, if you're going to really succeed in the coming years, don't let people see you coming.
Be like an iceberg.
Don't let them see you coming. Keep your strength, remain agile, remain flexible, because it changes, it reshapes. So be flexible, be adaptable, be agile, and don't let people see you coming until they underrate you and they realize how strong, how powerful you can be, and then they see that you are not a pushover.
So now, what's the assignment we're giving people for the rest of the week?
Work in secret, and when the result is coming out, or when the result is ready, that's when you begin to show what you have done. For example, when we do what we call product launch. When you're doing a product launch, do you show people how you build the product?
No.
You don't. It's on till the product is ready. Are you aware that there's a battery that can last probably over 1,000 years?
Wow.
But while it was being done, nobody showed us what they did. Nobody showed us how they are building. And more importantly, there are 2 Nigerians on the research projects.
Interesting.
But that battery, as small as probably the tip of my finger, but it can do like 1,000 years. So very soon you're going to have phones that you don't have to recharge, and they're going to work for their entire lifespan.
Mr. Fola Daniels, Adelisi in the building. Our motivation segment is very, very key this morning for each of us starting off the week. Maybe there's a project you want to start talking about with someone. This message might just be for you. Let everything get to a certain stage of completion before letting your iceberg out of the surface. Mr. Fola Daniels, thank you so much. We'll see you again next week.
By God's grace.
All right, then use our hashtag WakeUpNigeria on TVC and tell us what you think about today's topic. We can't wait to see your comments. Stay with us. There's still quite a bit more coming your way on Wake Up Nigeria.